So today I'm going to be talking about food and mental health and just a little bit about my journey with it. I underwent severe depression. I was extremely unhappy coping with my emotions and my states of being through drinking alcohol, participating in substances that were deteriorating my ability to think clearly, my physical vessel. I was just doing all sorts of things that were really bad for me. I started to do research. One thing that kept coming up for me was food and the way that you eat, exercise. When you have issues with your body image, the way that you feel about your physical vessel, this is going to affect your mind, and ultimately the manifestation of your physical body is coming from your mind. It's coming from the way that you think, the way that you've been taught to think, the way that you've been taught to relate to food, taught to relate to your own state of wellness. So it was really challenging for me to come to my own conclusion when it came to what feels right in my own personal body, to have my own autonomy when it comes to eating, when it comes to living and existing. Because a lot of the practices that I was perceiving and learning from just were insistent on that way of life. The insistence didn't come until I started coming into my own way of being and existing, right? So that came through just a deep desire to no longer experience this unhealthy state of being. I started practicing all these different diets. Grapefruit diet, where you eat a grapefruit before every meal, a scoop of tuna fish with a piece of cracker, just ridiculous shit where it just doesn't really make sense. What else did I do? All meat diet, where it was just lean meat all day, every day, only specific kinds of fruits, no milk, no nothing, just straight up meat. Probiotic pills, 20 pills a day, 3 times a day. It was crazy. And so I did all kinds of weird things in order to feel right in my own physical body, to feel right in my own mind. And then also exercising, just lifting weights, cardio, things of that nature, and then also being in nature eventually, meditating. I started to feel a major shift. I started to feel a little bit more in tune with myself, a lot less prone to participating in alcohol, a lot less prone to overindulging in food. And it showed in my body, it showed in my energy. But as you continue to level up or change yourself in ways where you feel genuinely better, you realize that there's always something better. And so the way that this manifested in my experience with food was, all right, we just want to feel fit. We want to stop drinking and smoking. Right? So we'll do anything to make that happen. And from there, it started turning to, like maybe I should be a vegetarian, or maybe I should just only eat quality foods. And from only eating quality foods, it went into vegetarianism. And that's where I started getting a lot of pushback. Oh, are you sure you don't want to eat meat? Are you sure you don't want to, And I started noticing the ways that there is this discord between people who eat meat and people who don't eat meat, which has always been kind of funny to me and annoying. Because who cares? Everybody should be able to eat what they want to eat. Whether you want to eat a Twinkie or not, or a honey bun or broccoli, do what you do. You ever get those people who are like, oh, I can eat all the chocolate cake in the world and I never get fat. But then you have people who are like, oh my God, I'm so scared to eat this chocolate cake because if I eat this chocolate cake, I'm going to gain weight. Energy that you're associating to chocolate cake. I just want to reiterate to you all that whatever you eat, whatever you participate in, or if you see other people participating in other foods, I would definitely not be too obnoxious or try to push your beliefs on them. Because in this world, it's very dense. And when you eat primarily fruits, we'll say, sometimes you got like fruitarians, breatharians, right? Which I've done that. I've tried that as well. From the vegetarianism, it went to being a vegan. And then from being a vegan, it was straight up plant-based vegan. From being a plant-based vegan, it was let's practice everything Dr. Sebi. And that's when I started to notice the shift in my energy. I could tell the way that these electrifying foods, this alkaline list that Dr. Sebi has provided for us, made a difference in a very interesting way. And I observed everything. I observed everything when it comes to that. I took experiential notes. When you're eating a certain kind of food, your vibration is naturally going to raise. You're going to be in a certain energy, and it's a little bit more light. You'll have to experience it to really know what that is, but what I can say is that you feel more light. And it's just like fasting. When you don't eat all day, or when you don't eat for 3 days, such magnificent shifts happen when you don't eat for 3 days straight, just water, or even dry fasting. The longest dry fast or water fast I've ever done was 7 days. And, it changes everything. In this world, unless you are really disciplined in your mind, it's not realistic to not be participating in denser foods. Some people need denser foods in order to operate. So oftentimes I see people talking about you shouldn't eat meat, or you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do that. And I notice the energy of people. It's your vibration, it's your perception of what you are consuming that will determine how you receive this nourishment. If you eat meat thinking, oh, I shouldn't be eating meat is bad, what do you think that's going to do to your energy? If you say, I'm gratefully eating this meat, I'm gratefully eating this nourishment, and I'm going to, maybe cut out meat for 1 day, that's going to be a clear distinction. Say that you have somebody who truly believes that eating meat is bad and they choose not to. That's fine too. If somebody believes that that's not good and they should not eat meat and nobody should eat meat, that's fine. You believe that, whatever. But what if you, as that person, is overindulging? You eat 5 chocolate bars a day, you eat way too many servings, and mentally you're gluttonous, and physically it shows. And then you parade around judging people who eat meat. What better is the glutton to the meat eater? All this to just express that you have to know what you want. And you have to understand that making these things about ideals and beliefs around what's right and what's the wrong thing to do is counterproductive if you have a goal. Like, what do you want? In your physical body, do you want to experience higher levels of energy? Do you want to feel that lightness that comes with letting go of the denser foods? Do you want to experience a more physically fit, chiseled body? Do you want to increase your endurance? What do you want? Instead of sitting around unhappy with a physical state of being, physically unhappy, mentally unsatisfied, or not living in alignment with an outcome that you want to experience, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, financially. Getting clear on what you want is more valuable. And why do people engage in this behavior to begin with? Something to question within yourself. And once you can get clear on what you actually want, what is it that you have to do in order to achieve that goal for yourself so that you can live more healthily, so that you could be in alignment with what you truly want for yourself? So moving forward on my journey, what I realized was that once I went through all these phases of learning what it's like to have that energy, or to practice these things, get creative in the kitchen, becoming a vegan chef, and being in alignment with Dr. Sebi's practices, and learning what it takes to prepare for a fast, to be in a fast, to not fast unhealthily. All these things just enlightened me in so many areas. And ultimately, what I realized was that I was still unhappy with my physical vessel. I didn't like the way I looked in my body. You might have an unhealthy perception of your body. You might have trouble with body image, which is something that I struggled with for a very long time for so many different reasons. And I'll talk about that in a different video. I started to learn more about nutrients, macronutrients, and the value of being aware of what that is and realizing how much less the body actually needs. Whereas before, I thought that the remedy to my mental ailment was to continue down this path of eating alkaline and living in nature, right? And it did, and doing qigong and doing meditation, like all these things really helped and served its purpose. But there was an imbalance in the way that I was intaking food from where I was at. Some people, they can eat this way and they'll be good because they have discipline or they relate to food in a certain way. In my mind, because it was plant-based, because it was vegan, because it was Dr. Sebi approved, I thought that I needed more than I needed, or I thought that it was okay to be unsatisfied with myself because I was satisfied in these other areas. But the point is to be fully in alignment with what you're truly wanting for yourself in this lifetime. So that's when I started to learn about macronutrients. I realized that I was overindulging. I was using way more than my body needed. I was way up on my fats and the macros, probably like triple what I needed as far as achieving the goal that I wanted to achieve. And I was very determined to achieve that goal on my own. It was like disciplining myself was not the issue. I was down to discipline myself. When I realized that the way I needed to discipline myself was completely different than what I thought it was, that's when I started to realize how hard it is to actually discipline, or how hard I thought it was to discipline myself at that time. Instead of using all these oils to cook, instead of deep frying everything, instead of all these things that I thought was cool to just have as many fried plantains if I want. It's healthy, right? And so that's when I noticed that I was overindulging, even though I didn't think that I was. Even with, what's the other thing? The carbohydrates. Why am I not at the desired body weight? I train, I do qigong, I wake up, I meditate, I exercise like a motherfucker. What's going on? But the reality of it was that I was eating way too many carbohydrates. I would eat like tons of fruit. Sometimes I would spend the entire day eating high amounts of fruit, high amounts of sugar. The body does not need that much sugar. The body does not need that much fruit, right? Depending on what you want. There's some people who eat 99 bananas and they're pretty lean and skinny and whatever. But me personally, I know what I want. I don't want to be lean and skinny. I want to be strong. I want to have muscle mass. I want to be able to run if I need to run. I want to be able to climb if I need to climb. I want that level of strength. Aside from wanting, I'm living in alignment with having that level of strength because it is something that I have always valued. So, yes, this is something to get clear on. I hope that was helpful in any way, and please feel free to like, share, comment, all that on my videos. And until next time, my friends.